Welcome back to another captivating episode of Conversations with Indie Authors. I'm your host, Brittani Starr. And today we have the pleasure of speaking with the talented and rising author hailing from New York. In her debut novel, Fallacy Entangled, Marianna leads us into a riveting narrative centered around a resilient and powerful alpha woman. Marianna weaves a captivating tale of love, choice, and conflicting loyalties, enveloping readers in a world teeming with dynamic twists and an emotional depth. Her work promises to be a roller coaster of emotions and intriguing complexities. Join us as we delve into the realms of her gripping narrative and the craft behind her unique storytelling.
Conversations with Indie Authors.
Please welcome to the show, Marianna Buffolino.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Can you take us to the beginning? Where did you come up with this concept? How did you conceptualize this?
It's crazy. So I never had any intention of writing a book, but unfortunately I was in an accident in 2021 that left me in bed for a couple of months. So I've always been an avid reader. I just went into like a black hole of books, but it felt as though every book was almost the same the tropes, the characters, and I just was like, what if I were to write something a bit different? I personally like a bit of everything. I don't like just romance or just drama or just one particular thing. So I just started typing out scenes that kind of just created in my head. And eventually there were just enough that I was looking at my computer and I said, maybe I should put together a book. And then, little by little building the courage to do it because it's a little scary. I did, and here I am.
That's amazing. So this was just because you had an accident. I'm sorry that you were in an accident.
Yeah.
I hope you're healing.
Yeah, it was a long journey, but my motto in life is always everything happens for a reason. And during that time, you never know what that reason is. And every day I'd ask, oh, why did this happen to me? Why me? Why me? And maybe this was just the direction that I need to take in life, And
Just
now
set
I'm
you in the
working
right
on more
direction.
books. Yeah. And I have more coming out next year. So maybe this is just the path that I needed to go down.
So wait, are they in the same vein? Are you writing a trilogy to this first book?
Yes. So the first book will be a trilogy. Book 2 is set to come out next year. I also have 2 other books that I'm working on to get out next year as well. That will be spin-offs of the series.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. That is so awesome. You're already set up.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
just like once I started writing, it just was like it just wouldn't stop. Like the creativity, the just everything. It just wouldn't stop.
so
I just had to get it down.
that makes sense. I totally understand that. Can you tell us where did you come up with the character? What her name is Aria. I don't remember the last name. Aria.
Cassariano.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
And
okay. They're
she's
super Italian names.
I'm terrible with names and I have weird names that challenge people too. So, it's great. But where did you come up with this strong alpha female? Because I think we're seeing more and more of that, but I don't know if that's really, a few directors in Hollywood might have a strong female lead, but not usually.
Well, I feel and movies are different than books, right? So I
Yes.
think that you see that more in movies, but in books, a lot of the female characters, even if they're supposed to come off as strong, they're not. They're like damsels in distress, right? Like they're just I don't know, a bit in my opinion too weak where as you're reading it, like it could be a great storyline, but you're reading it and you're cringing like, "Oh, why would you do that? Or why would you say that? Or why does you have to be that weak?" And I feel that the male counterpart is always this very alpha male. And I'm thinking to myself, would an alpha male actually be with someone who is that quote unquote weak, in my mind, at least, as I'm reading these books? Um, so I thought, let me try to write something where it is an alpha female. And you could still have a romance with 2 alpha, a female and male. You just have to really dig and really, sit there and think, okay, how can I make this happen without it being cringy?
That is a delicate line. Well, that is interesting because I'm trying to think as you're saying that. I cannot think maybe a couple of people throughout my lifetime have I seen two alphas together. Like a
Mm.
true alpha woman and an alpha male. Usually they will have someone more submissive.
I mean, even if they're two alpha, like an alpha female and alpha male, the alpha female may still be a bit submissive when being in a relationship with an alpha male a bit, but in general, I don't know. I guess I think of my husband, right? He's an alpha male, and I think one of the things that he loves about me is that I'm very independent and I could do things on my own. Will he help me if I need help? Absolutely. But he always, never has to worry about, oh, needing help. Like, she's got it, she's good. And when she needs me to step in, I'll step in.
Mhm. That's awesome. I agree. That's funny. My husband and I were just talking about that this morning. I ask him every once in a while, so why did you pick me? Why me?
Why me?
And so he's like, well, because I can't stand all these women that are just, oh, come save me. And he goes,
Right.
you don't need saving. You can do everything on your own. You're is just, happy that I'm here. So,
Yeah, it's like an added quality that, like, I think is attractive to an alpha male.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. Can you set up your book a little bit for somebody that's never heard of you? Set it up and tell us what makes your book different and why we would want to read it.
It's I classify it as romance. I like to say romance suspense. The book does leave off in a way where um it's a cliffhanger, but not quite, because I wasn't sure at the time if I was going to write a second book. So it kind of leaves off in how you feel the ending should be, how it would fit in your mind after I've set all this up for you, right? So the storyline is Aria, a main female character, grew up in the mobster lifestyle, right? Her dad was a mob boss. She and her twin brother always agreed that they weren't going to go into the family business, quote unquote, right? So they deviate away from it, except her brother ends up changing his mind and going into back to their home and being his father's successor. So their father passes away and they haven't seen each other in 12, 13 years. And she goes back home for the funeral and she gets sucked back into like the lifestyle. And now she's torn between the life she created for herself and the life that she was born into. And you see the struggle between two different worlds. And in the mix of that, she has two love interests, one from the world she created, her best friend, and one from a rival boss from a different mob family. So it just becomes the circle of, like I said, I love the romance drama. I like all of it mixed in together. And of course, you have to put in spice because I feel like a romance novel isn't anything unless it has some spice in there. You
Absolutely.
can't forget the spice.
Just like with cooking. So now I had a guy on that's a retired New York detective, and he was telling us some stories. And now I've never actually been to New York. I've never been there, but I've heard stories. And we used to watch movies and there was mob movies, and he's like, oh no, that's real. Like there's actually the mob. Like that's actually a real thing. And I'm
It's
like,
a real thing.
and so now you're from New York and you're writing about this. Have you like witnessed actual mob
No,
activity? Okay.
no, no, just full disclaimer. This is not based on true story. It's not based on anyone at all. It is pure imagination put together. Um, I mean, I love the mafia movies. I mean, they don't
Hmm.
really center around romance much, but like The Godfather or Goodfellas, I like those movies. And then, of course, it's a bit of that, adding the romance aspect, the drama, and of course, the spice.
That's awesome. So where can we find you online if we want to follow you and find out more about your books coming out?
I have my website, author mariannabuffolino.com. That's being revamped right now, but that should launch in a week or two. You can follow me on TikTok or Instagram. I also have a Facebook page, but I'm more active on Instagram and TikTok. So you can
There's
follow
the
me there.
TikTok is
But my
big.
website will have, yeah, TikTok is huge. They have the community book talk. So it's, I feel like that sucks you in. Like once you're part of it, there's no way out.
Oh my God, to
You get sucked
Steve.
into it and you're just like, oh, okay. Well, you get an idea of what people like to read and what's, up and coming.
That
So,
does help. So you can, yeah, that does help. Like right now, I think what's trending a lot is self-development. I think that's a really good trend for people to be on.
but yeah.
Yeah. So on TikTok has a good book talk as well. Are you on that part too?
Yeah, yes, I am. It's a community. It really sucks you in. There's,
Yeah.
once you're in there, you're in and kind of just like a black hole, it just sucks you in. There's no way out. But it's a great way to, know what's out there. What are people reading? What do they like? What do they consider spicy or, it's like a good kind of an outline for as an author to kind
Hmm.
of see like, oh, okay, like people are into this. I could continue that because I mean, my book has spice, like I mentioned, and I had a book club of women who read my book, and I went to go, talk to them. They wanted a Q&A, and one of them said, "Has your mother read this book?" To them, it was like very spicy versus to some people, like on Book Talk, my spice meat might be a level 3 or 4, but for them, it was like a 5, like so it's always interesting. But it's good to know that people like to read that stuff. It's like, oh, okay, I could keep that in there then.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you tried Amazon Vella?
No, I haven't. What is that?
Pardon me. Um,
Bless you.
so what you do is you can write, and it's like short stories, and so it can be where it carries on, like every week you put out a different one, and so people get the first three for free, and then they have to subscribe. And
Oh, okay.
some people were having really good luck with it as writers.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I mean, it was kind of cool. I started to do it. I haven't. I'm like, I'm so busy doing everything else that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I like to know about it. Cool.
I'll get to
I'll get to it
it.
eventually. My daughter's like, well, it doesn't take that much to research how to do this thing. And I'm like, I know, but if I'm researching everything that there is, then it takes forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Life
That's
could take a
interesting.
long
I don't
time.
know if I could do that though. Like I can't tell you how many drafts of the first book before it even came. It was more of like every time I went to go back to reread it, I changed everything. So that'd
Okay.
be hard for me if I were to like, okay, here's one bit, here's another bit.
I understand. I think maybe it would work if you just had it all out and just put like however many words it lets you for each week, and just put the whole
Yeah,
book and then already have it done instead of
that's
like,
true.
yeah.
I'll have to look into that. I'll
Yeah.
research it too. I'll let you know
Yeah.
what I find.
There you go. That'd be great.
It's
Well,
easier. It's easier when someone else does the research and then they
yeah.
tell you about it,
Tell
and
me
you're like,
what,
"Oh,
tell
okay,
me
I
the
can do that.
highlights. It's like for
Yeah, sure."
dummies, all the for
Yeah.
dummies in the 90s. They used to like, yes, it's research for dummies. Anyways, well, I'll let you get back to hanging out with your newborn. That's pretty awesome. Congratulations. That's an
Thank
amazing
you.
time. That's one of my favorites. They still do the cute little newborn little.
Yeah, I know. It's so cute. It's
It's
so
so
cute. I
cute.
can't. I can literally stare at him all day. I'm like, I shouldn't like. I mean, obviously, my kid, I should be obsessed with you, but I think I'm like too obsessed. I could literally just watch him all day, do nothing but like little baby step, like
And
yawning,
it's all
stretching.
magical.
I love it. Yeah,
Oh, you yawned. Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
yeah.
Yes.
So cute. Are you burped? Oh,
How adorable. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I did that for the first year my first daughter was born. I just sat there for probably the first year with tears in my eyes. Every single thing she did was the most magical thing I'd ever experienced in my life. Yeah. is pretty great. So congratulations. I'm happy for you. I'm so glad that you're getting to experience that too. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on today. I will put the links in the description box below so that it's super easy to find you, your book and your website and your socials. And so, yeah, and I'll follow you so I know when your new books are coming out and I can tell other people.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, you have a great day.
Thank you for joining us on this enlightening episode of the Zarlequan podcast. Remember to subscribe to our newsletter so you never miss a beat. The Zarlequan Indieverse.